One common problem the Mazda 3 has, and to be honest, quite a lot of other cars also have, is with this.
This is the flex pipe, and its task is, well, to flex. With the engine twisting under load, the exhaust also needs to move, or flex.
And over time, the flex pipe tends to wear out.
I would be willing to bet the soft OEM rear motor mount has some accountability for that, but we'll leave that for another day.
So one of the other problem is that the flex pipe itself is part of the exhaust manifold. That means I can either do A, replace the complete exhaust manifold, or B, replace the flex pipe only. So I'm actually going to be doing C, which is a bit of both A and B.
Because this flex pipe is actually made for the MZR engine, so it needs to be tweaked, and we're also going to be cutting out part of the manifold. First thing I do is lift up the car so I have room to get access to the flex and manifold, while making sure the car is safe and secured. To get clear access to the heat shield covering the manifold, I need to remove a lot of the surrounding components, like some grounding wires, the heater core hoses, the coolant reservoir, and finally loosen the engine mount to make some more room.
Oh yeah. Alright, so now I have the exhaust manifold unbolted from the head. All that's left to do to really unbolt it completely is to unbolt the bracket that's holding the cat below, and also to unbolt it from the rest of the exhaust. From there, for the MZR engine, people tend to bring it out of the top of the engine bay. But since this is the Skyactiv engine, the engine is actually tilted a lot more towards the firewall. So I'm not sure if it's gonna actually fit towards the top, or I'm gonna have to figure out a way to move it or to remove it from the bottom.
Since the bolts holding the bracket to the manifold are rusted out, they just strip. So I have to use a bolt extractor to get them out. And well, they just ended up all breaking. Then I'm removing the rear motor mount to move the engine as far forward as I can, but clearly there's still not enough room. Determined, I removed the cowl and eventually the second heat shield, but again, all in vain. Finally, I got the manifold out by smashing the like button. I mean, the rest of the flex pipe, and splitting it in half.
Alright, so I just finished taking out the exhaust manifold, and honestly it's been quite the job to take out of the car. Like I thought, there's a lot less room compared to like the MZR engine that I guess would typically come with the second gen and first gen. And then in the end, I was trying to pull out the manifold out of the top, kind of similar to the MZR approach, but that wasn't working just because of the size of the cat and the bracket underneath. So I ended up trying from underneath the car, and it was just not working quite well because the brackets for the hanger were kind of catching with the insulation, and then the cat was hitting on the axle. And in the end, the flex pipe was really weak, so I decided to just hammer it loose until it completely broke, and I was able to pull out the flex pipe from one side and the manifold from underneath the car. I think if I were to have pulled the axle, the passenger axle out, it would have came out from underneath, but again, I'm not sure by like flipping it upside down and pulling it from underneath. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring it to welding shop so they can weld the new flex pipe on. I'm also going to go and take out the primary cat so we can have a better exhaust flow at the same time. And hopefully it will streamline the exhaust flow and it'll make the manifold a lot slimmer to reinstall in the car. Alright, so I just got the manifold back from the welding shop. I'm really happy on how the shop actually ended up doing it. It looks like the cat or the piping wasn't like fully circled. They had to like pull out the piping or something to really close it off properly. But that looks honestly like really well done. And yeah, the new flex pipe looks good. Everything looks pretty good on the manifold. So I'm pretty excited to see how the car's gonna sound with that, and if we're going to see any power gains out of that too. So hopefully it's going to go in a lot easier without the cat kind of being stuck in the way. So before that, I'm just going to clean it up a little bit, put a bit of high temp paint on it so that it preserves it and keeps it nice and clean for hopefully longer, and basically go from there.
The city feels so dark when no one's around. We're sitting in my car. The silence is so loud. I don't know where the hell we ended up, but all I know is that it feels like we're stuck. We're not going anywhere. I swear it feels like we have.
With the flex pipe painted, I reinstalled the sensors, but also add an extension for the second O2, so I hopefully don't get a code from it. Then, without the big bulky cat in the way, the reinstallation is a breeze.
It's always up in the air with you, with you.
Alright, so the exhaust manifold is all bolted up to the car. It's bolted up to the head and the rest of the exhaust. Putting it back in the car without the cat, the job was so much easier. It took less than a minute to have it positioned properly, ready to bolt up, compared to the hours it took me to take it out of the car. Now I just gotta bolt up the mid chassis brace and a couple of things in the engine bay, like the wiper tray and whatnot. So just gotta finish that up, and then we'll be able to start it up and see how it sounds.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Whoa, ooh. Oh, oh, ah.
Alright, so everything's pretty much bolted up on the car. Now it's just a matter of starting it up and see how it sounds. So let's go and start the car up. So it sounds like the car might crackle a bit, which is really nice. I hope that's the case. Obviously the engine's warming up, and it's not like I drive this car every day, so I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit and see basically how it sounds. Alright, so finally the car is on the ground. I tightened up everything and topped up the coolant too, because I removed some coolant hoses. So I can't wait to get it out of storage, honestly, to get the car on the road and see how it feels, if I got more throttle response or if I got a little bit more power even. And at the very least, I think it sounds a lot nicer, the tone of the car, and I can't wait to hear how it sounds under load. Now for the next episode, I am super excited, guys. There's a mod that I've been wanting to do for, I'd say, about 2 years now on this platform, all the way back to when I had the automatic white Mazda 3. And I haven't found anyone that's done this before online on their Mazda 3. The only people that have done it is actually Mazda themselves for a concept car. So I'm really excited about the next episode, the next mod that's going to be on the car. I think it's going to make the car feel a lot better, and I think it's going to make it a lot faster too. So I can't wait to share that with you guys and to show you guys the whole process. So along the lines of adding power to your car, a great way to do so is by adding a cold air intake. You get that induction noise, and you can get a few horsepower and a bit of throttle response at the same time. To go see that, go check out this episode right here, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.